Hello and welcome to today's video on high altitude investing. Today's video is 3 tips for doing technical analysis that I use. Okay, so this is cryptocurrency. My name is Dallin Anderson. So we're going to be going over cryptocurrency today, but this really should be applicable to any trading that you may be interested in or doing. Alright, so I'm looking at the Bitcoin to the US dollar chart right now over here on Coinigy.com, and this is some technical analysis that I did. I just barely made this before this video, and you know, this is a very simple technical analysis I've done. Basically, I have a Fibonacci, so that's these support and resistance lines in the background, and I'll teach you guys how to draw those here in just a second. And then I have candlesticks and some support trend lines. So I've just drawn some trend lines that are acting as support and resistance that I see, and yeah, that's basically all I've done inside of this. And what this gives me, why this is useful, is it gives me places I can look for to see pullbacks and then pumps. So we could probably expect a small pullback, although I will say that it just recently hit this, and so it could break above into this next support and resistance area. But it is in resistance according to my technical analysis here. That yellow line is a resistance line, but that doesn't mean it can't break above resistance. So this is basically, you know, some technical analysis that I've done, and now let's go look at some that you can do and how you can do it and some tips on doing it. So Tradingviewcom is the website that I recommend for doing charting. It just has a really good interface with lots of excellent tools for your analysis. Okay, so let's go ahead and search an idea. So up in the top right, I'm going to search for, let's look at Litecoin, why don't we? Okay. By the way, today's video is part of Thursday's trading tips, so expect a little tutorial / tip every Thursday. Tomorrow, I don't have a video, so just be aware that I don't upload on Fridays. Okie dokie. So this chart is loading here. And I'm going to go ahead and clean up the drawing. So I'm going to remove all drawing tools. Alright, so I have some indicators here. Now, how I brought these indicators up is I clicked indicators up in the top here, and then RSI and MACD. I just searched them and it brings those indicators up. But let's do some actual technical analyses. So the first tip that I have on technical analysis is geometry. Everything is very geometric in trading. It's basically the fundamental math involved in trading is geometry. Now, personally, I have a pretty good eye for geometry. I think I was just born that way, but that, you know, some people, you can obviously train yourself to be better seeing geometry and patterns, but I think I may have a pretty natural eye for it, and I've been told that. But basically what you're looking for is shapes, really. I mean, I'm a very, yeah, price means some stuff, but when you're doing technical analysis, it's about shapes and support and resistance zones and areas, basically. And geometry, so mathematical reasons that they do that. Do you see how I just drew this line right here? Because I see it hit this point, this point, this point, and this point. See those wicks right there? That's because I drew that line because that's an important area that the market reacts. See how the market reacts? Now, another important thing to note out, so tip number 2 is that the market draws these lines. So it's not, obviously it's people buying and selling in the market, but it comes out in a mathematical way. Order comes from chaos, and the market draws these lines. So, obviously these are just areas in which it reacts in a mathematical fashion so that you can draw lines or, pitchforks or Fibonacci. I'll show you how to do that. I have an entire video on indicators and how to draw when you're doing technical analyses. It's just called indicators. What are indicators? And I highly recommend checking that video out. But you can draw a Fibonacci retracement, and that shows areas in which the market reacted. See how I just put the low at the low right here and the high at the high, and then that's just for support and resistance. Another thing in technical analysis is you have to remember that like indicators can have geometry too. So if you look, I have a video called symmetric price movement or symmetric market movement, one of the two, I can't remember, but I highly recommend checking it out. And I talk about how these indicators can have geometry too. Do you see how there's clear trending up in this indicator's geometry, even though the market didn't officially turn around until it made a rounded bottom formation right here? See, again, that's a geometrical shape. Looks like a rounded bottom. So you're just looking for shapes, really. Here's another shape. Here's a V shape. That's a bullish signal. When and the more geometrical that V is, the more bullish it is. And as you can see, that same shape formed in the RSI, that same geometry, and the MACD. That same V formed in all of those, the indicator and the price action. The price action is the most important though. So as you can see, that shape that formed, that V, and then how it broke above the high on this point, that's a bullish signal in a market. It's a very, very bullish signal. And since that point, we've had, nice trending in the upward direction. Now, I can draw all kinds of support, zones. I can put a line right here, and you can go crazy with it, really, if you want to. And some days I do go a little bit crazy with it and sit here and do charts all day. But, it's basically at the end of the day, excuse me, geometry and price lines and areas that the market reacts mathematically. But you don't want to get too crazy. Like I said, you want to keep things kind of clean. So like this is a pretty clean chart right here. All I've pointed out is that I see a V shape, which is bullish. Here's a support trend, here's a support trend, and here's a support trend. And then I put Fibonacci for support and resistance lines, like horizontal lines. And because support and resistance can be trend lines and horizontal and vertical lines. It really depends. Well, not vertical technically. I don't know. Vertical lines can, typically when you're looking for support and resistance, I should say it's a horizontal line, or at least a trend. So yeah, this is a pretty clean chart, but when you're doing technical analysis, you don't want to make it too messy. And the other thing is you want maximum data points touching. Do you see how there's tons of places in which the market has hit this spot, and tons of places that the market has hit this trend? And then there's tons of places that the market followed this trend too, right here. So you want to look for places where there's a lot of data points, and the maximum data points is key. So if you're drawing Fibonacci and you're looking to put the wick at the top, don't always put the wick at the top. Only put the wick at the top if there's the maximum reaction points. So like I could put it a little bit above the top, right? And find a spot where I see more reaction to these support and resistance levels in the fibs. So let me do this here. Come over here, pull up. You see how I pulled it up to like right here? And then I look and I'm like, oh, I like how that reacts against this better. See how it hits this data point better over here and this data point right here? So I'm like, okay, I like that more, even though I put my 0% above the typical, area here, it reacts to more areas. So you want to have as many data points it's reacting to as possible. All right, so that's some tips I have on technical analysis. Again, you just want to keep it simple, maximum data points, and geometry and shapes. Those are very, very important. And that's basically everything I do for my technical analysis. The other thing I look out for is parabolic moves. Just one last little thing here. If you look at a parabolic chart, a parabolic chart is when a chart does this, which is basically what Litecoin's doing right now, where it comes up and starts channeling into, here's a really good one. This is a really good example of a parabolic chart right here. See how it comes up into this smaller range that keeps pumping up. So we're going a little bit parabolic in Litecoin right now, but we're not there yet. See how it's still got more pumping up to go? So I'm still bullish on Litecoin, in case you're wondering. I think it has to, finish that parabolic move and then come for a small pullback based on my technical analysis and geometry. So my actual projection is that Litecoin comes up into the 0.014 range and then pulls back probably to about where it is right now. But this is a nice uptrend. There's lots of volume and a rounded bottom formation, and it looks very geometric. So yeah, that's some tips that I use on my technical analysis. I hope that you learned something in today's video. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Get a hold of me through email. Follow me on Twitter at HighAltitudeINV. Join the Discord chat. Links in the description. Also, link on my website. If you want to become part of the VIP exclusive Discord course and community, go ahead and fill out the form. Link to how to do that in the description. And also, let's see, what else was there? No, I think that's everything. Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and as always, stay profitable.